I also mentioned in my last video how Timmy seems to have no respect for his parents, and it honestly makes sense why he has no respect for them, because it's so obvious that they don't care about their child. They do not. Hey y'all, it's Harriyanna and I'm back with another video. Hi everyone, welcome. If you're new, welcome aboard to the SS, the pirate ship, Harry Hook's pirate ship. We're in for something. Not even before I even get started, y'all be telling me that I be doing too much when I be making these analysis videos and whatnot, but I just want to let y'all know that y'all don't do enough, okay? I always do the most. I specialize in doing the most. I just gonna need y'all to keep up with me because yeah, the little social justice warrior inside of me notices a lot that's wrong in children's entertainment, and I'm here to just explain. If you guys are wondering what kind of videos I like to make videos based on nostalgia, family entertainment, and racism for the most part, but I am open to talking to all social issues. And before I even get any further, I know you guys are wondering what the freak I'm wearing. I just finished doing my Boylin cosplay. So yeah, off with your head. So I mentioned in my last video, I'm trying to keep the bee in here. Let me scoot back because I want the bee in the camera. You guys are wondering, I know I always say this, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what the Fairly Odd Parents is, but basically if you don't know, you're probably living under a rock or you had no childhood. But yes, the Fairly Odd Parents is an American animated show, came from Nickelodeon, created by Butch Hartman, and it is basically about child abuse. That's literally the plot device this show uses the entire run that it was on air. It's about child abuse, and it is created by Butch Hartman himself, and he's problematic, and this show itself is problematic. And I know a lot of y'all gonna come for me telling me I'm doing too much, it's a kid's show. Well, I think it's important that what kids are watching, I think they shouldn't be laughing at things that are inappropriate. Like, okay, like a lot of this stuff, like I go back and watch the Fairly Odd Parents because all I do is watch freaking cartoons. Okay, go ahead and judge me. I'm a college kid that loves cartoons. And I don't laugh. Like, it's funny when it's funny. Like, when it has to do with the adults doing adult stupid stuff, it's funny. But when it has to do with children, people being mean to freaking children, it's not funny, and I don't like it. Yeah, this show is really not aging well for me, and the thing about it is that I have a love-hate relationship for it, because when it's funny, when it doesn't deal with child abuse, it's funny, and I really wish this show could have focused more on those aspects than just picking on children. It seems to have problems with the show because they got bad because they kept adding more characters, but no, my main problem with the show is that it's so mean-spirited. Like, you guys know of the movie Matilda. I'm not here for your lavender comments. Don't say them. But yes, Matilda is honestly like such a mean-spirited movie about child abuse. And the Fairly Odd Parents is very similar in that aspect for me, because the teachers are horrible, the parents are neglectful and bad, the teenagers are mean. That's why I'm just like, yeah, too many similarities there on that. Who knows, Butch Hartman, did you steal this idea from Matilda? Timmy Turner, who we know is one of the most annoying, horrible people ever made in the fictional world. He's a 5th grader at Dimsdale Elementary School. He has very neglectful parents. He has a horrible babysitter. And because of those 2 reasons, he was blessed with 2 fairy godparents named Cosmo and Wanda. Later, it is also revealed Timmy does not have any siblings, so he is then given a fairy god brother who is the child of Cosmo and Wanda. I also mentioned in my last video how Timmy seems to have no respect for his parents, and it honestly makes sense why he has no respect for them, because it's so obvious that they don't care about their child. They do not. Besides the fact that Timmy doesn't have any respect for his real parents, he has no respect for his godparents either. But there are multiple different videos on here talking about why Timmy Turner sucks as a person. And yeah, please go watch one of those. We're not really here to just talk about Timmy Turner and crap on him. We're really just going to talk about the overall problem with this show. It is also revealed that Timmy Turner is actually a 60-year-old man in the episode Timmy's Secret Wish. And the reason why he is 60 is because he wished to Cosmo that he wished that everybody would stop aging so he wouldn't lose Cosmo and Wanda. And that is so freaking sad now that I think about it. I know I'm probably thinking too hard on it, but that kid literally didn't want to go back to his life of just abuse, that he literally froze time so he can just stay in the moment forever because he knew him being with Cosmo and Wanda was not going to last forever. I think Timmy Turner is like a really, really sad case where it just seems like all the adults in his life have failed him besides his godparents, and Cosmo and Wanda really are his parents. Cosmo and Wanda are raising Timmy better than his own parents are. Timmy has the worst parents ever. Like, his parents didn't even want him in the first place. Like, they mentioned that they were so much happier without him. And then when they were pregnant with him, they said they wanted a child. They wanted a girl. They wanted a freaking girl. They didn't want a boy. So, yeah, Timmy was a mistake. And his parents seem to keep reminding him that he is a mistake. We are going to be talking about three different episodes from the show, which is 1, The Secret Origin of Denzel Crocker, 2, It's a Wishful Life, and 3, Timmy. Now, we're going to be talking about the most depressing one of them all. It's a Wishful Life. Now, before I even say it, I love Alpha J Show's channel. He's so freaking great. I don't what this necklace is bothering me. But yes, you guys really should go watch Alpha J's channel. He makes a lot of like cartoon type content and things like that. And yeah, he made a really, really good video about A Wishful Life, and he was just pointing out how it was just so mean-spirited, and he was just talking about what he would have done to change the episode. So I will link that down below. But now here's my analysis on that episode, because that episode honestly breaks my freaking heart. I don't like watching it anymore. Like, the most recent I saw, it came on a few months ago, and I sat down and watched it as it was on my television, and I was just like, how did that get greenlit? Like, it's so freaking depressing. And I honestly think it's just as depressing as the Denzel Crocker episode, but the reason why this one is more depressing in my eyes is because it's solely just focused on the fact that nobody wants Timmy. It's just so freaking mean, because the episode starts off with Timmy doing nice things for his parents, and his parents are very unappreciative of that. Like, they were, what? Like,
my parents see the lawn.
Timmy! The lawn! It's
perfect, beautiful, amazing,
ruined!
For once in my 10-year-old life, I decided to do some good deeds and nobody even appreciates them.
Timmy is always trying to be into his parents' life more because he notices how they neglect him so much. That's part of the reason why they got him a babysitter in the first place, because there actually was an episode where somebody mentioned that they need to be living their life more and their child should not stop them. So they thought getting a babysitter and ignoring their kid was the right way to go. And I'm like, no. But yes, the episode just starts off with them angry and yelling at him, and he just was like, the nerve of y'all. And Timmy just comes to the conclusion that he realizes that nobody freaking cares about him. He wants to be gone. So he wishes that he was gone. And then that freaking hurt me. He realized that everybody around him was just so much happier without him. And this isn't really like child abuse. This is child abuse because of his parents and all that. But he just realizes that him being like the person that he is, because I do blame his parents for his parents' neglect for the reason for him to be acting that way. It's really hurtful to see that this child, the reason he acts the way he does is because his parents are so awful to him. And that he just brings negativity on around to everybody around him. And that really broke my heart. This episode is just so freaking sad. It's honestly, like, if you are gonna go back and watch this show, that's one of the best episodes. But it hurts so bad. Like, I don't know, why the freak am I sympathizing with Timmy freaking Turner? Like, Also, this wasn't in It's a Wishful Life, but I do need to mention this in here because I think it's important to point out that Timmy's parents literally have walked in on Vicky torturing him and didn't freaking care. I'm really surprised that DFACS was not called on them. Next, we will be talking about the secret origin of Denzel Crocker. Now, this episode is honestly really freaking nerve-wracking to get through because it's like a series of unfortunate events. That's literally what this episode is. In this episode, we all know March 15th, Crocker has a really, really bad attitude on March 15th, and all the kids are just fed up with it. And Timmy was like, no, I'm getting down to the bottom of this. I want to know why this man is so freaking pissy on March 15th. So you know what? He wishes that he can go back in time to take a look into his life to see what everything was like. Now, first they go back to the 90s, and what would I describe that as? Let's just say it was freaking weird. So then he realizes that what he needs is not here because he realizes his life was already messed up. So he goes back to the 80s. And then the same thing happens again. It's freaking weird. Really, really stereotypical. I'm telling y'all, like, this show's representation of the 80s is so funny because it's the wackiest 80s I've seen. Like, I was like, no, it was not like that. The fashion was not like that. And I'm over here talking like I lived in the 80s. I'm like, no. I'm working on Stranger Things. I really gotta look at what the 80s actually look like. So now when I go back and watch stuff where stuff took place in the 80s, I'm just like, anyways. So he goes back to the 80s. He realizes that he's not far back enough. So then we go back to the 70s. And it is also revealed that Denzel Crocker is very, very similar to Timmy Turner. He was very miserable, had neglectful parents, had an abusive, mean babysitter, and had fairy godparents. And his fairy godparents were revealed to be Cosmo and Wanda. And just like Timmy, he had no respect for them. It's really, really interesting, like the parallels between Timmy and Crocker, because it shows that they're not much different, and it also kind of shows that this could happen to Timmy in the future. Because Crocker was so miserable and everybody freaking hated him and whatnot, that the horrible traumatic trauma that happened to him as a child by being neglected to his mother and being abused by his babysitter, it really just contributed to him being such a messed up individual. And it just got dark. The most unfortunate thing about this is that Timmy was trying to go back and help Crocker during this time because he was like, well, if this never happened to him in the past, basically he accidentally revealed that he had fairies and that ruined his life forever. And then Timmy actually wanted to go back in time and fix that for him because he thought that saving him then would make him a nicer adult in the future. And unfortunately, he was stopped from doing that, and the man had to continue his miserable, horrible life. And that's really, really horrible. But not least, the last episode we are going to talk about is a Nega Timmy. Now, I honestly think this is I like this episode the least out of all of them, simply because it took place a lot, like, in the house. And I can't stand a lot of Fairly Odd Parents episodes where they take place in the house a lot. But anyway, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Shut up. Basically, Nega Timmy is basically the parents are ignoring Timmy as they usually do. So Timmy started acting out and doing stupid stuff because his parents are neglecting him. And then they end up being reported for being bad parents by the bad parent hunter.
Mother, can you help me with my homework?
We don't have time to help you with your homework like good parents should. We're watching our favorite show, The Bad Parent Hunter.
Yeah, so here, go play with this dangerous acid in the street.
Bloomin' onion, there's their boy now.
Are we surprised? No, because they are awful parents. So because they were finally revealed to be awful parents to the world, here they come wanting to show the world that they actually discipline their son. And then they started disciplining him really, really hard. And then Timmy started rebelling. And then that's where Nega Timmy was born. Now, with this episode, I really don't have much to say about it. I just think it's like a cause and effect. More of a scene when you do clownery, the clown comes back to bite. Because y'all ignored your child all this time. And then once another person wants to call you out for being a bad parent, you're like, no, nobody else can think I mistreat my child other than me. So you know what? I'm going to actually pretend like I care for once and take care of them. And yeah, it backfired. So I don't feel bad for him disrespecting his parents in this one, because they actually just kind of had it coming. Mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. Turner, are literally some of the worst parents of all time, like worst fictional parents of all time, okay? And the most sad thing about the Fairly Odd Parents in general is that when you realize how many other children have fairy godparents, they all have fairy godparents because they have horrible real parents. That is the most horrible thing ever. Like, there have been other episodes where it revealed like other children having fairy godparents too, like the rich boy in Remy Bugs Plenty. The reason he had godparents is because his parents, like, same with Timmy, neglected him. But then with Remy, they use money as their way to like ignore their kid. They thought giving their kid nice things will make it for them not taking care of them. Whereas with Timmy, he was given a babysitter, so his parents would have had to take care of him. But that's actually very, very disturbing, because there are plenty of fairy godparents out here, and they all have kids that they are assigned to. It honestly just makes me think about the real world and how many kids out here are actually they actually are in abusive households. It's really, I don't know, like I said, I think a lot, I think too much. Is really, really kind of depressing. Like, I kind of see that as a bit of symbolism, whereas if kids that were really being abused in real life, they could have something nice like that. They could have a set of fairy godparents and whatnot. But
Heaven, and as the rules state, I must now take your fairies away forever. Happy birthday!
What? No! I'll make you a deal. How about I keep the fairies and you take Mother?
No way! Your crazy mother is the reason you needed fairies in the first place. Now you're old enough to get therapy. Your fairies are going to a new god kid.
I really don't like that thing where Jorgen, I put the clip in here earlier where he said, you old enough to go to therapy now. And I was like, Jorgen, not everybody can afford therapy, because a lot of the kids that did have fairy godparents were poor kids. Like, no, like, it's just to a certain extent. This show can just be really, really mean-spirited to children. And I'm just like, they are kids. Like, y'all hatred towards kids is really freaking weird, okay? Like, the man that was over Fairy World, that was over all the fairies, he hated children. Like, it's weird. It's weird. I don't understand why the people who don't like kids the most are in charge of them. It's freaking weird. It's like, the Fairly Odd Parents, like, it's not that funny to me anymore, because I don't know, I think too much, I care too much about the problems in this world, and just knowing that like people like to make jokes about abused children don't sit too well with me. That's why I'm just kind of like, throw the show away, throw Butch Hartman away, like Thanks for watching this video. I love every single last one of you. Once again, thank you again. And you are aboard the SS Harry Hook's pirate ship. I love you all. Don't forget to follow me on everything. And yes, thank you for watching. And yes, have a good night.